This is my boat Aster. I've had her for nearly 11 years. She's my second boat. I started 14 years ago with a little 40-foot steel boat, which I bought on a complete whim. I'd had a buyer for my little bungalow, who's actually an ex-student of mine, which was lovely. And I couldn't find anything else I liked that didn't mean I had to take on a bigger mortgage. I got to know the boat. It meant I had lots of power, so I could do all the work I needed to do on it, which was quite a lot. And then come February, March time, it was the start of the big adventures, out on the canal and moving around and trying to hold down a full-time job at the same time. But it was fun. I did live in I had a 3-story Victorian house with a massive garden, and it was lovely. But in the winter, I didn't use it. I lived downstairs. I had a big sort of lounge, sort of kitchen dining room with a big wood burner in, and a big sofa, and I lived in there all winter. So I thought, this is ridiculous having all this space. But as soon as I moved onto the canal, it's like whether all these people and everyone stops and chats to you, and yeah, I think the simple life. I don't have a television, I've got no mains electricity. I got all my electricity comes from solar panels, so it's a much more environmentally friendly way of living, or it can be. Yeah, I just like the small space. I was offered the job of housekeeper at the boatyard, so that was a secure full-time job which I enjoyed mostly, and I did that for about 18 months, and then that's when I started to get ill. They couldn't find anything wrong, and then on my 40th birthday I was out having lunch with my son and I collapsed. And I think it was about 3 or 4 weeks in hospital before I was strong enough that they could operate on me, and they still didn't know what was wrong. They said they'd found a mass near my kidney, but that's all they said. They didn't tell me what they suspected it might be, and I still didn't know until I actually got the pathology report that it was adrenocortical cancer, which is an ultra rare cancer. There are 5 of us in this country that I'm aware of that have got it, that are still alive, and I'm one of the lucky ones. I forget I can't do things like this I used to. I've got Louis, he does most of the heavy work. He does my cleaning. It's the best cleaner I've ever had. It's really good, and he's good company. I'm not relying on friends and their good nature. I've got some wonderful friends that do a lot of things to help me, but it's really difficult if you're relying on someone's good nature. You have to take what you can get, whereas now I'm employing people, so they have to turn up and they have to do the work and they get paid for it. All those things that I used to do myself and I'm not physically capable of. So yeah, it's great. I can pay people, and I can pay them a reasonable wage as well. I was given a budget and told what it was based on. I said I could pay minimum wage if I wanted to and get more hours, but that doesn't seem fair. I pay what I would expect to get, and it means people do a good job because they're paid well and they're valued. When I managed to go back to work and everything was fine until 5 years ago, and it was just a routine scan. I didn't feel ill, but the routine scan showed up that there was actually quite a lot in my liver, and that's when my husband left, because he said he couldn't deal with it anymore. Oh, because he said, I can't deal with that again, was what he said. And that's when I found out who my friends really were. The community on the canal was absolutely amazing. He left me with nothing, but within an hour I had bags of coal and logs and food for me and the dog and the cats, and people just rallied round, and they were all there for me, and they still are. And after the last major surgery 3 years ago, I swore I'd never go through it again, and so I said no, I can't do it. It's growing very slowly, so I'm just going to live with it. And in September, I went to see my oncologist again. The good news was there were no more new lesions in the liver. The ones that were there had only grown between 2 and 3 millimetres, but there are now 2 very small ones in my right lung. So it's changed tactics, so I'm not quite sure where I'm going with it now. I thought I knew what was happening, I thought I knew exactly what would happen, you know, how it would all end, and now I don't. My boat is going to one of my best friends.
Okay.
Yes, it was tricky. It was a hard decision to make, because it's like, who on earth is going to want an old wooden boat? My family don't want anything to do with it. I said, I did try selling her myself a few years ago. I thought I'd be sensible and get something smaller that's easier to manage. And people just don't want to buy an old wooden boat. They think it's more trouble than it's worth. And when I'm gone, I won't have this mooring anymore, so my family would have to keep moving the boat, they'd have to try and sell it, and it's too big a responsibility, and they've said, no, don't want it, leave it to one of your friends. So the first friend I asked said no, because it's too much trouble. But I've got a good friend who's got a lot of experience working on wooden boats, and he's sort of, housing wise, he's not very secure, and he's got a teenage autistic son who's wonderful, and he was the obvious choice really, and he will carry on and keep her going, and him and his son will have a lovely home. The room that I'm doing out the back, he is in my mind all the time that I'm doing it. That's one of the reasons I've got a red stove. Wow. Because the young man's favourite colour is red. Yeah, it gives me a lot of pleasure to know that when I'm gone, Aster will carry on, and she'll just keep getting better and better. Because my friend Donnie has plans to put an electric motor in her. Yeah, which is really exciting. And she'll carry on being a happy home. That's the most important thing to me.